Federal courts order some SNAP benefits to continue this month, but thousands of families in Colorado are still in limbo. Some schools are now stepping up to put food on the table.
We have families come in with their kids and shop for free.
Governor Jared Polis says more Medicaid cuts are in store for Colorado as his office tries to limit state spending. A former DU employee quits his job rather than comply with the university's new anti-DEI push.
It felt like we had to completely erase, we had to completely start over.
And we interrupt spooky season for a bit of good news.
Good news is it's not your time yet.
We'll take what we can get tonight on Next. Good evening, I'm Kyle Clark, dressed up as Mark Salinger for Halloween. Food banks are still prepping for a surge in customers when a federal food assistance program pauses payments to 600,000 Coloradans tomorrow. Federal courts ordered the Trump administration to continue funding SNAP benefits this afternoon, but it's likely too late to get things back on track by tomorrow's scheduled payment. Earlier this month, the Department of Agriculture announced it would not be sending out SNAP payments on November 1st. The department said those funds are held up by the ongoing government shutdown and refused to use emergency funds to cover the gap. Today, hours before benefits are set to lapse, two separate federal courts ruled that the USDA should tap into their $6 billion emergency fund to cover SNAP benefits this month. That only partially covers the program, which costs about $8 billion each month. The courts also asked the administration to explore other funding sources to fully fund SNAP benefits this month and report back by Monday. SNAP recipients will still likely see their benefits lapse this weekend. The process of loading monthly benefits onto debit cards usually takes a week or two, and the Trump administration is likely to fight that ruling. So all that uncertainty is being felt not just by people who rely on SNAP, but also by food pantries all around the state, unsure how they'll be able to provide for so many people. Spencer Soisher shows us how schools are now working to fill that gap.
Every nook and cranny, we use it.
The space isn't large,
We unload and load.
but the pressure here keeps growing.
Absolutely, we have noticed an increase in use.
Inside Teller Elementary,
Oh, table.
this little closet in the school cafeteria serves as a before and after school pantry.
So it's for their kids, their families, and even the staff here at the school.
A group of volunteers, like Kathy Price,
This corner might be tricky.
serve the Teller community, meeting them where they are. That used to be about 25 to 30 families a week.
We kind of got wiped out.
Now, that's more than double.
I feel really uncertain. I don't know what's going to happen.
As SNAP benefits run out, the volunteers at the school are doing their best to keep up with increased demand at their place.
That's really why we're starting to expand our hours.
And for the food they get for the pantry from Food Bank of the Rockies.
Not much was available as there were way many more people than usual there shopping.
Denver Mayor Mike Johnston said Thursday that about 30,000 kids in the city rely on SNAP benefits.
That means when you have kids showing up at your house tomorrow night to trick or treat, 1 out of 7 of those kids that show up with a mask on at your front door will not know whether they're going to get food when they go back home the next day.
For the volunteers, the thought of SNAP benefits lapsing is scary.
We got it.
I don't think that we truly really know how huge the impact will be.
But for now, they'll keep this place open more often and filled with as much food as they can fit in their space.
I am concerned about what's going to happen next week, but we're going to do the best we can.
The pantry will now be open on the weekend as well. It's technically not part of any DPS program, though some volunteers and parents at other schools appear to have set up similar pantries. Remember, this isn't just students. They're helping staff members that may be affected by this ordeal too, Mark.
So the mayor estimates that roughly up to half of the people who receive SNAP benefits in Denver are kids. So truly, when you take a step back and look at this, it's like when the adults can't figure it out, the kids are the ones who are being impacted by this.
Right,
Can't get food on the table.
If these kids know what's going on in a lot of these senses too. They're talking in this scenario here about maybe like reducing the stigma that people may have around going to the pantries, but not fair to the kids that the adults can't get their stuff together.
When you talk about uncertainty, it just keeps changing every day.
Yep.
Spencer Soisher, appreciate it. Thank you. So while the USDA is fighting to pause SNAP payments, they're also asking states to turn over personal information of SNAP recipients. This morning, our Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins falsely claimed that Colorado was complying with that request.
The USDA has asked the states for their data so that we can ensure that taxpayer dollars are being spent appropriately. Not surprisingly, all of the red states said, yes, please help us with this. We want to do the right thing. We want to make sure there's not all this corruption and fraud. By the way, two blue state-led governors also leaned in, Colorado and North Carolina.
So again, that's not true. A USDA spokesperson says Secretary Rollins misspoke. Colorado is one of several Democrat-led states who sued over the USDA's request for 5 years' worth of personal information on SNAP recipients, including home addresses and social security numbers. The USDA says they want the data to root out fraud in the system. Attorney General Phil Weiser says the request is part of a, quote, coordinated effort to collect personal data on millions of Americans, including people here in Colorado. Federal judge has temporarily blocked that data from being shared while that case continues. Meanwhile, at the state capitol, Governor Jared Polis says Medicaid spending is eating up too much of Colorado's budget. Today, he released his spending plan for next year and said the state needs to focus on reining in medical costs, and Medicaid costs, I should say. Medicaid already makes up about a third of the state budget, and Polis says the costs are snowballing faster than the state can keep up. His office says Medicaid spending is increasing at a rate of nearly 9% each year. That's much faster than the state's revenue is allowed to grow under the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. If that keeps up, Polis says the state would have to start pulling money from other priorities like public safety and transportation. The governor told our partners at Colorado Politics that he doesn't want to kick people off Medicaid. Instead, he's calling for service cuts like limiting dental coverage and capping reimbursement rates for Medicaid providers. Ahead of the new school year, the University of Denver announced it would end diversity training and scholarships for specific racial groups to comply with new federal rules. An employee says those changes went too far, so he left because of it. Our Jaleesa Irizarry spoke to him.
At the University of Denver, the leaves aren't the only things changing. A new season means a new school year without Eric Duran.
I don't know. It does hurt a lot.
Duran sits in his family's Texas home just a few weeks after resigning from DU. Since January 2023, he was the director for gender and sexuality student success. He was charged with leading a new cultural center, creating relevant identity programming, and building spaces for students to feel safe, like the school's Pride Lounge. This summer, that all changed.
We're balancing what that means for the university while still keeping true to our values.
That's Chancellor Jeremy Haefner back in August announcing that DU would comply with the feds and scale back its DEI initiatives in fear of losing funding. The university stopped DEI training, ended certain scholarships, and got rid of dedicated facilities for specific groups of people, even if they were open to all, like the Pride Lounge.
We had to completely start over and build something that wasn't what we were charged to do initially.
It's why Duran did this instead, letting the public know he would be resigning his post with a post. With the closure of spaces came a title change Duran says would have kept him from working with students the way he wanted to.
I think the institutional backing for marginalized or often ignored students wasn't there.
In a statement today, Chancellor Haefner said he understood that change could be hard, but wanted to, quote, ensure that every student knows that they have a place at DU, that they belong, and that they are seen for who they are.
It truly is heartbreak. It's grief.
Duran worries for students at schools that may not find support systems because of shifts like this. Changes, he hopes, are only temporary.
We could have done so much greater things at the university. It's heartbreaking.
DU is not the only school that announced changes this year. Colorado State as well. They announced changes to their DEI programs in response to the Trump administration. DU could not say exactly how much the university was at risk of losing, but the chancellor has previously said that it was somewhere in the millions. Hey, we want to say a quick thank you for all that you've done this week to help our neighbors put food on the table during a very uncertain time. Here's Kyle with an update on this week's Word of Thanks.
SNAP food benefits lapse for 600,000 Coloradans starting this weekend. So as of this week, we are focusing our Word of Thanks microgiving campaigns for the foreseeable future on fighting hunger in Colorado. Since Wednesday, your generosity has raised $45,000 to support the Weld Food Bank. The leaders there tell me that the loss of federal food benefits will create an unbearable burden in that community. 40,000 Coloradans in Weld County, half of them children, rely on SNAP. So right now, Weld Food Bank is buying food by the semi-truckload, and they estimate that they'll need $500,000 worth of food to meet the initial need. They are routinely seeing lines around the block as people wait for food assistance. They are facing an overwhelming situation right now, but they are still telling Coloradans to come to them if they need help with food. They told me, if people come to us, we can give them something. So that is why I'm coming to you. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. 5 years of pooling your $5 donations or more if you're able. That has built a $16 million mountain of generosity in our state. I will never ask you to give a loan, so I will match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us rolling. And more than 6,000 of you have signed up to make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund to sustain this giving. You put in your info once. Each month, your donations automatically split among all the nonprofits we feature. And that's added an additional $30,000 to recent weekly microgiving campaigns. Thank you so much.
Despite Colorado's efforts to lock the clock, we're still falling back an hour this weekend. Get ready. And no matter how spooky things get, we like to end each week on a high note.
We're just going about hanging out, just having fun for Halloween.
Your good news, all treats, no tricks. That's next. Colorado Springs is the latest city joining in the fight against Governor Jared Polis' mandate to comply with state housing and land use mandates. Back in May, Governor Polis issued an executive order threatening to withhold millions of dollars in state funding from municipalities that were out of compliance with new state laws governing zoning and land use. 6 home rule cities, including Aurora, Glendale, and Westminster, are suing over that executive order. They argue the laws trample on their local authority and they shouldn't lose funding for not complying. This week, Colorado Springs city councilors voted to publicly support the lawsuit, although they're stopping short of actually joining it. Councilors had some strong words for the governor and what they consider executive overreach.
I'm advocating for is that we plant a flag in the ground that we as a city believe we know what is best for our citizens.
This is a reoccurring theme with this governor, attempting to impede and attempting to put laws and push bills in place that impede our ability to self-govern.
Governor's office has published a naughty list of sorts of cities that aren't following state housing laws. Colorado Springs is not on it, even though city councilors publicly refused to adopt one of the state laws in question earlier this year. So get ready to set the clocks back an hour this weekend. Daylight saving time ends on Sunday. Each year around this time, of course, we get the same question from viewers. Why the heck are we still doing this? Colorado passed a bill to make daylight saving time a permanent year-round thing back in 2022, but that still hasn't become a reality. That would mean brighter evenings and darker mornings in the winter months. But Colorado can't lock the clocks until the federal government passes a law either mandating permanent daylight saving time or allowing states to make that decision for themselves. And once the federal government gives the okay, Colorado would still need an agreement from 4 other states in the Mountain Time Zone. So for now, Coloradans will still change their clocks back twice a year. Let's take a look at your evening forecast this evening. 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Crispy Donkey is keeping an eye on the radar. Crispy, what's the weather looking like this evening?
Yeah, thanks so much, Mark. And yeah, if you're going out and trick-or-treating this evening, just a few clouds around. It will be chilly, as you can see right here next to my hoof. It's going to be dropping back to about 36 for us this evening for us in the Denver area. Weather pattern overall, this area of low pressure, you can see it here with my right hoof, that is moving off to the east. And as it does so, high pressure will move back in its wake. That will spike those temperatures pretty dramatically for us for the end of the weekend and especially for next week with highs in the 60s and the 70s. So tomorrow, 63 as we start things off here on the month of November on an October-like note. So we're flipping things around just a little bit for us. Mostly sunny skies, warmer with those light winds. Winds will be on the light side, but you might notice that south-southwest component to the wind. That is what is going to be warming us on up into the low 60s for tomorrow. Now, also for tomorrow, mountains. Considerably warmer compared to the eastern plains, compared to average. Reason being, we're underneath that ridge of high pressure, so we're starting to see those warmer temperatures out here, much cooler temperatures out this way here into Kansas and Nebraska. But overall here, folks, that 7-day forecast, very mild for us as we head over the next few days. Highs in the 60s and the 70s. After a chilly night tonight, we warm back up dramatically. We'll be right near a record high for us on Sunday. And then next week, highs mostly in the 60s and 70s. So, Mark, overall, again, a very tranquil start to the month of November weather-wise for us here in Colorado.
Yeah, Crispy, you were looking at that forecast, and some might say it's a little ee-aw.
I don't understand the reference, but I appreciate that.
Your hopes were pointing at it.
I can't help this. This is how I was born.
Crispy, thank you. Oh, once a year we can get away with that, and today was that day. Hey, is it just me, or is everyone dressed really weird today? I didn't get the memo or something like that. This week's good news comes from Coloradans in costumes. And a reminder, you can also catch Nat streaming each night at 6 p.m. on 9 News. We always do crazy stuff just like that. And Next is now a podcast each weeknight. You can find us wherever you listen. Some people take Halloween really seriously, Crispy Donkey. Like walking around downtown as well in a full costume at 11 a.m. It's a full day affair. We caught up with them and some interesting characters to ask our favorite Friday question. What's your good news?
The good news today is that we have a beautiful day for music.
Of fantastic festive gear.
My good news today is visiting my boyfriend who lives in USA, and I've come from Australia.
My good news is I'm hanging out with my friends on Halloween.
I like to dress up.
Are you gonna wake up in that costume?
I think that is a strong maybe.
The good news today is that today is actually my brother's birthday today. So, yeah, that's really good news. And after all this, I'm going to go out and celebrate with him.
I'm a moth.
I'm just a clown.
My good news is that my girlfriend is visiting me from Australia.
Are you capable of having good news?
Good news is it's not your time yet. The folks at the old home are not a fan, and I don't think they like me at the ER either. The older people are usually the ones who have the best sense of humor about, they walk up to me and they're like, I'll see you tomorrow.
My good news is it's Halloween and I'm here with my best friends.
The real good news is that it's starting to warm up a little.
Well, that dude was on stilts and everything. Let's see your costume.
Gucci the pug.
Gucci the pug, which is a real pug.
That is. My dog's name is Gucci.
A wonderful costume. We'll be back with your feedback next. The most Colorado thing that we saw today is a very Denver Halloween costume. In fact, perhaps the most Denver Halloween costume. That's awesome. Bailey dressed up as the one and only Blucifer, who frightens and delights travelers at DIA every day of the year, of course. And look at that dancing, too. That's an awesome costume. If you can hear it in the background there, there's a remix of the DIA train. Incredible. Quick feedback tonight, and everything is about Crispy Donkey, right? Cheryl says, what a hoot. Thanks for making us laugh. Someone, Leslie, texts, Crispy Donkey rocked it tonight. Yes, he did. Thanks, Crispy. See you next time.